Now, so I want to welcome you to Wilbur Elementary School, the best elementary school in the entire universe, not just the state, not just the country, but the entire universe. And tonight you're going to see a few reasons why our wonderful staff members and teachers. And so I am Beth Howell. I'm the principal at Wilbur. You will hear from me a lot through email, through my newsletters, and sometimes from videos as well. And so I want to welcome you as a Wilbur parent to this wonderful place. So we are going to get started as we try to start things on time as much as possible. And we want to welcome you to Wilbur Kindergarten for the 2022 to 2023 school year. That is crazy to say. We opened, I actually was the principal when this building opened in 2007. And so it is a fantastic place to work, and I hope you will find within a week of your students starting with our school that it is a fantastic place for your child to thrive and grow during their elementary school years. And so I want to thank you for coming out tonight and welcome you to Wilbur Elementary. So again, I'm Beth Howell. I'm the principal at Wilbur Elementary School. I want to introduce my assistant principals, starting with Mr. Matt Folke.
Good evening, parents. My name is Matthew Folke. I'm one of the assistant principals. Just so happy that you're here. And you're going to hear about all about kindergarten tonight. And again, we have an awesome staff. And it's just a great school. It is a great place to be. And we are so excited to meet your little ones coming this fall. So thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Folke. And we have Ms. Shay Payne Miller.
Hi, my name is Shay Payne Miller. I am the assistant principal on the yellow-green side of the building, and I cannot wait to meet all of you and all of your little ones next school year. So welcome to Wilbur, and I'm sure you're going to have a great time at Wilbur.
So I do want to let you know that at the bottom of your screen, you're going to see a Q&A button or a chat button. I think you see a Q&A button. And that is a place where, as we're going through, we're going to try to answer as many questions as we can. And so if you have a question that's burning in your mind and you want to put it in that Q&A, I will do my best. My teachers know I will interrupt them in the middle of whatever they are saying or doing, and I will get that question answered. If we don't know an answer to it, at the end, I'll kind of say, here's some questions that we'll try to answer in upcoming communications. And so if you have a question after hearing some of the information, or if there's something we missed and forgot to put as far as something burning in your mind, then I want you to feel free to put that in the Q&A. And like I said, throughout the night, I will try to put that on for you, or put some answers out for you so that you get those questions answered. I also have on the screen remind text. So one of the ways that we communicate with parents regularly, especially about things like days off, let's say there's a snow day or something like that, it is through text message. And so I have on the screen how you can sign up for the Wilbur Elementary text messages. It's very clear right there, so I'm not going to go over it, but I will say that this is my link to you for a quick message. We also send out from me weekly a newsletter called Wilbur Words, and that is where a ton of information that you will need comes from. And so sign up for those texts. You can always go back. I always put this on Wilbur Words as we get close to the start of school year, but make sure that you do that. Also, we do have a Facebook page, and some of our events are live streamed. For example, our celebration Wilbur Winners type of assemblies, which are the way that we celebrate some of our students as they make good choices. Those are live streamed, in addition to things like sometimes band concerts and different things that we'll do at school. And so like us on Facebook so that you'll see those things right away. Did want to start by just mentioning to everyone that there is a staggered start for kindergartners. I don't want you to be confused. Your student will come to school for 2 days, the first full week of school. And so the reason they do this is really to give kind of students that are new to our school and teachers a chance to get to know those students and really just a chance for to have smaller class sizes for a couple of days until the students get used to things. And so you can take a look at this information. This will be put out in letters. This will be put out in Wilbur Words. You will have this again, but I do want you to know that students with the last names beginning A through L will come on the Monday and Tuesday, August 29th and 30th, which is our first week of school. And then students with the last names beginning M to Z will come from August 31st and September 1st. Friday that week, there's no school. And then everybody starts back up right after that Labor Day on Tuesday, September 6th. And so I do want to make sure that everyone is clear on that. If you have any questions, certainly you can let us know. I also want to let you know about something we call Kinderduction, and you will get an invitation to this. You will get a form to fill out to register for this, but we do want to let you know that on Monday, August 22nd, so basically a week before the students come back, we do kind of a couple of hours with kiddos being dropped off with their teacher, because by that point we know who their teacher will be, and they actually have like a half day, a morning with their teacher to just kind of so everybody feels better about the situation. Sometimes kiddos might be a little worried about going somewhere they don't know for the first day. So we do this kind of as a soft start, if you want to call it that. It also gives you a chance to be able to actually meet your child's teacher and get to know them a little bit right before you actually drop off your student with us. And so we are planning on doing this face-to-face. Last year we had to do it virtually. This year we're planning on doing this face-to-face. The date and information are on the screen. And again, you'll get lots of information about this prior to it coming. On that same day, I do a Q&A with parents. So any of those questions that haven't gotten answered, we kind of just go over some general information, and then it's really questions and answers from parents. And we have a good time with that. And then you get to go on a tour of the building with your child's teacher. And so they take you around with your child so that you can see the nurse's office, the cafeterias, all the different big areas of our school. And so that is something that we found really helpful for parents because we know it's the first time that your baby's going to school. So we want to make sure that they feel comfortable and that you feel comfortable. So what we're going to do tonight is really give you a day in the life of your kindergartner. One of the reasons we like to do this is to give you hints and tips along the way for what you can do to get them ready for that big day when they come for the first real day of school. And so we are going to tonight give you some things about entering the building and breakfast and lunch and recess, all the different subject areas. Again, kindergarten readiness, how to make sure that they are ready to start school and they will succeed starting day one. And then of course, bus and dismissal, all those things that I know parents are a little bit always worried about. And so we will be able to tell you some of that information as well. So we are going to start with entering and breakfast. Is there one of our teachers that is ready to talk about this?
I can talk about it. Hi guys, I'm Miss Mulvena. I'm one of the kindergarten teachers here at Wilbur. I'm in the yellow wing. So this year we did things differently. So I'll talk about how do you agree that we're going to continue to do the same where they enter the hallways, the breakfast staff?
Yes.
Yeah. So every hallway and the front of the building will have an entranceway where the kiddos, when they come in, they will grab their breakfast. They will come to class. They will have a couple options to take to their classroom. They'll eat within the classroom. The first couple weeks, there will be tons of staff everywhere. So no worries, like your kiddo will know exactly where they're going, where to get their breakfast, what to grab, what to do, and where to go. So it's really important that first week too, that you have the child's name, the child's teacher within their book bag or somewhere in their belongings. Their name is super important. If you don't know the teacher's name for some reason, totally cool, but the kiddo's name is super, super important. So they will be able to get breakfast when they come in. It's offered to every single student every single day. So whether they eat at home or not, they can come in, grab their breakfast if they want to eat too. Totally good. So they can grab and go. So it's a bag. They take their juice, their milk, their cereal, their fruit, whatever it is. back to their room, and they eat it with with the other students in the classroom. They are encouraged to open the hours themselves. So if that is something that your kiddo can't do at home, totally practice at the summer, whether it's using a straw or just how to use a fork or whatnot. Any of those like there's very, I don't know, fine motor things for breakfast is super important for them to know when they get to school. We do encourage them to use scissors to open some of their breakfast. If they cannot use scissors is something they can totally practice summer as well. Also expecting to clean up after themselves. So if they do spill milk or they, have some crumbs everywhere, we do ask them to get a paper towel or a dustpan to wipe them up themselves. So something you can do over the summer is to practice self-help, to be able to do those skills on their own, which is super, super helpful when they get to the classroom. We also have to clean up after themselves at work time. So if it's something they spill, whether it's glue or glitter, just giving them the tools to know how to use them each and every day. We are a peanut-free school, so please ensure that if you do send a lunch, that there is no peanut products within that, to ensure that everyone's safety is intact during lunchtime.
Thank you, Ms. Mulvina. Great job. And she is exactly right. One thing I want to mention is that sun butter is totally fine. Some parents ask that. Sometimes you say, hey, my kid will only eat peanut butter and jelly. So sometimes you can replace that with something like sun butter. We do have many students in the past 5 years, probably more than ever before, that are deadly allergic to peanuts. And so we have just made the cafeteria is totally peanut free. And so you can always contact us. We'll give you a list of some alternatives, things like that. But I just want you to be aware of why that is. We do have some very bad allergies in our school. And we will send you in the mail a tag that has your kindergartner's name and a place for you to write their room number, their bus information, so that you can actually attach that right to either their shirt the first couple of days or their book bag or something. Because believe it or not, sometimes when students, 5-year-olds, get in a different location, you ask them their name and you would be surprised how many say they just go blank. They don't even know their name. So then we have to figure out how to get them in the right spot. And so just, kind of want to make you aware of that. And that's why we make sure that all students KM1 have a tag with their information on it, so we don't have to worry and we can quickly get them where they need to go. All right. There we go. Sorry about that. All right, reading. We want to talk a little bit about reading, and who is going to be doing that for me?
That's me. Hi, everybody. I'm Mrs. Eby. I'm a teacher in the Blue Wing, so the other side of from Miss Mulvina. So I'm not going to go into too much detail about the actual curriculum that we're going to be using in reading, because you'll get all that information when we do our open house and curriculum night once school starts. But these are just some tips that you can look at to kind of get your kiddos ready over the summer so that they're as prepared as possible for when we start in the beginning of the year. Some of the main focuses that we will focus on are looking at letters, both uppercase and lowercase letters, and being able to say their names and their sounds by the end of the year. So that is something that you can kind of do throughout the summer. Just kind of practice little things here and there and writing them. Make sure that they can really focus on writing their names. A lot of times our kiddos come in writing their names with all uppercase letters. So one of our biggest focuses in the beginning of the year is teaching them how to write their names with the first letter being uppercase and the rest being lowercase. So that's something that you can start throughout the summer, just so that they're ready for it when they get here. Some of the other major concepts that we will cover are hearing sounds of short words that we call CVC words. So if we say the word cat, we want them to be able to say the sounds k, at. And that's going to help them be able to read words, and that's also going to be able to help them in their writing skills as well. Some of the other small skills you can work on are rhyming, clapping out syllables that in a word, like pencil, pencil. and just seeing some of those high frequency words that they might see a lot in the books that you read at home. These are all simple little things that you can do in the car as you guys are driving somewhere. Oh, let's play a rhyming game. If I say rat, give me another word that rhymes with rat. And you can just kind of go back and forth in the car or point out different signs and different letters on the signs just to kind of get them actively engaging in those words and that the reading is a familiar process for them. And the biggest way that you can really get them prepared is to read to them every single night. Whether it's a 10-minute book with just pictures or a longer book that you guys are going over every night, just reading to them every single day and just asking them some simple questions. Who's in the story? What did they do? Why do you think they did that? Look at these pictures. How do you think this person's feeling? Or what do you think is going to happen next? Just to kind of get them really thinking about the text and engaging in what they're reading rather than just hearing the words, so that we know that they're working on their understanding as well. But like I said, we'll go into more depth of the detail of the actual curriculum when we start school, but those are just some tips that you can do over the summer to help get them ready.
Perfect. Thank you, Miss Evie. We appreciate that. And next, we would like to talk about writing. What's up with this?
Hi, everyone. My name is Mrs. Holovsky. I actually teach right next door to Miss Evie in the Blue Wing. And I just want to give you a couple, tips on ways to prepare your kid so that they are ready to start the school year. Have them, like Miss Evie said, focus on writing their name. Obviously, we aren't expecting the kids to come in writing their first and last name at the very beginning of the year, but that is an end of the year goal. And really reinforcing that correct capitalization is key. Something you could do for your kiddo is, write their name down on a small index card or piece of paper and have it readily accessible so that they have something to copy when they're trying to write. I know that that they love to draw pictures. So anytime they draw you something, have them sign their artwork and encourage them to, write their name down and have that extra practice. Another thing that you can do when they are trying to learn how to write is just take a marker or a highlighter of something and draw a line for your child to have an actual visual, a visual model somewhere for them to place the letters within the lines. With that being said, some important things to focus on are the pre-writing skills. So having them draw a simple picture or copy a letter from a name tag or so forth, color within the lines and make various pencil strokes. So as they start learning about, the formation of the letters and the numbers, they will be hearing a lot of language like big line, big curve, little curve, or a slanty line. And so just using that kind of vocabulary at home gets them a little bit more familiar with that, and will give them more independence when they're learning how to write their words, because they're going to hear what to do and they're going to be able to actually put it on paper. Another thing that is important for the kiddos to learn is to really understand the concepts of print. So the kids go through various different stages, and by the end of the fall semester, they have learned that print conveys meaning. What they have on the paper is trying to tell you a story or a message, and really reinforce the idea of we start on the left-hand side and we go left to right, top to bottom. Another thing that you can focus on, speaking of top to bottom, is if you're going to the grocery store or if they want to pick out a toy at the toy store, encourage them to write down an item that they want. They could copy the word, or they could just try and write the first letter. Your kiddo best, so judge what they can do, but given that extra practice is key. And I did mention, that line placement, but also, take into mind and consideration that we want them to use their spacing. A lot of us use the term finger spaces. So, you want them to write the word and then tell them to use their finger spaces, which means just put 2 fingers down after they wrote the word and then jump over to write the next word. Another thing that you could do is you could have a tangible object like, a Matchbox car or a Lego or something small like a Shopkins, where they can actually jump over that to write the next word. And then another thing I wanted to mention was any fine motor activities that your kiddo can do will help strengthen that those fine motor muscle that they will need so that they have a better pencil grasp, and they're actually able to use scissors and glue, with more control. So doing things with Play-Doh or, writing with sidewalk chalk, or experimenting with, different various markers, or, smelling markers versus highlighters and so forth, just kind of mix it up and keep it fun.
We do like to keep it fun at Wilbur. So one thing you need to know is we have spirit days once a month. And those spirit days, I will put them out in a calendar for parents before the year starts. So you'll know in advance what they're going to be. But we do take them very seriously because we like to have fun at Wilbur. So thank you, Ms. Holofsky. Now we want to talk a little bit about math.
Hi, everyone. My name is Rachel Pinder. I am in the Orange Wing, and I'm really excited to meet your children for next year. But we do a lot of math. We love math. Kids naturally love counting things. So just to be mindful of some of our end of the year goals, we do let you know, during the open house what our expectations are. But just counting to 100 by ones and by tens, finding ways to make 10. And we'll talk more about that. You'll learn more about those different combinations. Naming our shapes. So we talk about 2D shapes and 3D shapes. We compare those shapes, we contrast those shapes. So we use a lot of vocabulary. We talk about lines and corners. We talk about faces, what makes those 3D shapes. And then we also will be adding and subtracting. We make those combinations within 10, but subtracting within 5. And then talking about writing our numbers, just like we write our letters, starting at the top. And we have a whole number song that goes with that, which is great. And identifying our numbers 0 through 30. And then on the next slide, we're going to talk a little bit about what you can do to help your child prepare for kindergarten. Really just encouraging them to count different things at home, counting crayons, counting cereal pieces, even if you're in the car, like counting billboards, anything like that. They love while you're at the beach, you can collect seashells and count seashells. We talk about making second sets. So you could say, oh, I have, 5 cookies. Can you show me 5 carrots? Because you're going to have to eat those carrots before you can have these cookies. And then continue with those. Finding shapes in the world around them is great. That also can kind of go into our science unit. We talk about clouds. What do you see? What kind of shapes? Things like that. Number books, singing songs, rhymes. I always love, 5 little speckled frogs or 10 in the bed. And just encouraging that number sense with your child. Practicing and identifying those numbers. So when you're out playing with that sidewalk chalk, have them practice writing those numbers, or you could even write the numbers on the driveway and say, oh, go find the number 2 and then jump 2 times, or go find the number 5 and clap 5 times. So that will help get them that numeral sense to understanding the one-to-one correspondence. And play board games. Board games are great. They understand that when they have to move 1, they're not counting the space that they're already at, they're counting that move. So getting them to play board games is great. Candyland, snakes and ladders, shoots and ladders, whatever you want to play. We have snakes and ladders at our house because I have boys. So, and then just talking about those math concepts, you can encourage them to help you when you're out shopping by counting and collecting those objects. Okay, let's pick out 5 apples and put them in the basket. When playing with, Legos and things like that, build me a tower with 10 Legos. And just those little things. There's a link. I don't know if you can look at the notes, Ms. Howe, and there's a link that has different things that you can do at home to encourage the mathematical concepts.
So as long as someone reminds me at the end, I can put that in the chat.
Okay.
Or if someone else has it open on a different screen, they can definitely put that in so that the parents will be able to see it on the chat.
How about after I'm done here, I'll put it in the.
Sounds like a great plan.
But yeah, and so we love math. We have a lot of learning materials and manipulatives that we use within the classroom. So I look forward to the fall and getting to meet everyone, and hopefully you'll have fun over the summer counting.
And you might be thinking, wait a second, my child right now knows their numbers 1 to 30, or my child right now can count items. That is great, because the more your child knows going into kindergarten, the better. Our teachers do a phenomenal job of taking students where they are and then pushing them to make sure that they are challenged, that they also, if need be, are remediated to make sure that they get the skills they need by the end of the school year. But don't worry if you're sitting there like, well, wait a second, my child knows a lot of this stuff. My daughter did too. She's now in high school. Actually, she's now getting ready to graduate high school. But so I'm at the opposite end of the spectrum of any of you right now. But when she went to kindergarten, she knew everything that we would be talking about right here. And I'll tell you that she learned so much more in the classroom, more than I ever thought. So don't stress about that or worry about that. If you're thinking she knows a lot or he knows a lot about this, that's okay. Social studies. Which teacher is going to lead us about social studies?
Well, I'm also doing science, but I'll do social studies also.
Okay, great. Thank you.
So I'm Joe Parrott, obviously another one of the kindergarten teachers. Social studies for us, it's broken into, we talk about civics, geography, economics, and a little history. The main overall thing all year is citizenship, and it's going to be a citizen in our classroom. So we'll talk a lot about like those social skills and like, making sure we're all getting along and doing our best to be a valuable part of our team and our little communities, because we all do have communities within our classroom. And we want to make sure that the communities are very nice places to come and work and learn for everybody who's in that room. So that's a big part of what we do. But we also look into some map stuff. So we'll explore maps a little bit. The kids have fun with that. There's lots of good literature that goes along with it. And we'll look at, how calendars and schedules and clocks and watches and all that kind of stuff works and how things have changed over time. I'm an older guy, so I can show them what my Atari looked like when I was a kid and then compare it to what the PlayStation 5 or whatever. It's no competition at all. The Atari's so much better. But we'll look at how things have changed over the years. And they're very, very good at that. And then let's see what I'm missing here. Geography, we talked about that.
I think you actually
economics.
Yeah.
Economics. So we will, this is another one that's very literature rich. We'll be reading a lot of books that tie into economics, and the kids will have an understanding about needs and wants, and how they saving up sometimes is a really good thing. So we'll be kind of dipping a toe in all those different areas, and it'll make for some real good learning opportunities this year.
Perfect. So
Thanks, Mr. Parrott.
thank you for picking that up. One of the things that we want your child to know is we do have 3 kind of main expectations for the entire building. And we talk about taking care of yourself, taking care of others, and taking care of our community. And so social studies and social skills and even that social emotional learning piece kind of wraps into this whole area. And that is something that we do spend some time on, because some students, when they come into school, they may know exactly how to interact with others, how to basically take care of themselves, others in our community. Others, we may have to give some different information and lessons so that they have a better sense of that. And so we do look at it child by child, and those communities in classrooms are strong all the way through 5th grade. Our classroom communities are really important to us. So thank you very much. Now, Mr. Parrott again, science.
Okay, science time. So science is one of the kids' most favorite things that they get to do, because it's very like hands-on. They're exploring and checking things out. They love it. I love it for a different reason. We'll talk about that in a minute. So we cover 3 big areas in science. We talk about force and motion, like pushes and pulls and things that go. We'll talk about plants and trees. We'll be observing those throughout the year. So I know we have a classroom tree. We kind of check it out when we come in at the end of summer, and it's all green and lush. And then we watch it through the winter, and we watch it now in the spring when it's flowers and gets back to green and lush again. We'll also be talking about weather, and we'll be exploring all of these things throughout the year. Weather's all year long. We like to see how like the temperature does change. And we're always looking in science for patterns. So we'll see patterns with the trees. We'll see patterns with the weather. We'll see patterns with temperature. All this different stuff. Our science curriculum is meant to like inspire curiosity. So we'll be looking at things that the kids are going to be like, oh, that's interesting. I don't know how that works. And then we'll go try to find a way to make that work for them. It's very cool. It also delivers a lot of skills that are related to the scientific process. It seems like an awful lot for kindergarten, but it basically starts with making observations. So, we'll be going out and looking at like leaves on different trees, and, there might be a bit of like, take a nature walk with your child kind of homework where you go out and collect a couple leaves or something for us. But, we'll go out and explore like, well, these leaves don't look the same. Why do you think that is? And we'll come up with some answers and stuff. We'll also be doing a lot of like the kids there'll be a lot of trial and error in science. So when we're doing force and motion, we'll have the kids designing like tops or trying to design like a little like Goldberg machine where you're lining up dominoes and trying to make it knock a ball and all this kind of stuff. And this is why I love it, because the kids are going to fail and struggle badly in trying to do some of these things. And that comes off kind of harsh, but you know what? Struggle is the greatest thing we can do for these kids, because they are going to struggle. Even if they come in knowing everything we're doing, there's going to be a time somewhere where they got to struggle. And we want them to kind of learn that, struggle's not a bad thing. We all struggle. And when we struggle, we get stronger. So, we really, I love science because it gives us a chance to have that struggle there. Nobody's going to build a perfect top the first time. They all make these lopsided things that fall over, but they keep playing around with it and figuring it out. And eventually, they got a spinny little top and they're all proud of themselves. We're also science helps us enforce that, not enforce, but like instill that sense of like perseverance, right? Like, I want to give up right now. And some of our students come in and they just like, they don't have that perseverance yet. They need to build that stamina. They need to build like that understanding that like, oh, you know what? I didn't do it. Well, I could cry about it, but that's not going to solve the problem. So what I'm going to do is try again. And that's so important. So I love science because it gives us opportunities for struggle. And at the same time, even if they're struggling, the kids love science because it's all hands-on and a lot of fun. So it's a great subject. The kids are going to enjoy it. We're going to enjoy it. And they'll come home talking about like, oh, the tree we saw, or oh, my top, it finally spun. They'll be so excited. So that's science and social studies, and
Thank you
on to
very
bigger,
much.
better things.
All right. So yes, lots of fun things to learn. And yes, we do have technology at our school. So who would like to talk about this?
So our technology, we have each kiddo will have a computer at school. So they'll be able to log in every day on their programs that we need to navigate throughout the day. So I have a math program, a reading program, and some teachers have extra programs that they might put them on throughout the day. So the key thing we would want them to do is know how to navigate a keyboard. So know how to find letters on the keyboard, how to find numbers on the keyboard, and how to kind of press enter, how to delete. So those are the basic skills. If they know how to use a mouse, great. If they use a touchpad, even better, because all of our devices are either touchpad or they're using an iPad where it is using their finger, obviously, so it's touchpad as well. So know how to use Chrome, which I think is probably way out of their wavelength right now as a kindergartner, but they eventually will know how to navigate Chrome and Google Slides and all of those things. But over the summer, teaching them how to find letters on the keyboard, number one, find numbers on the keyboard, number two, and then any summer programs, ABC is a great one. Starfall, we love as like a fun kind of downtime website. PBS Kids is great. Me personally, as a mom, we do love ABC Mouse. It does cost something, but it's something that you're interested in getting. It's something that you can help them. So any type of navigation of the keyboard will help them when they come into kindergarten next year.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. So kindergarten readiness.
Hi, everybody. I'm Christina Sullivan in the Orange Wing. I'm going to tell you a few good kindergarten readiness tips that you can work on with your kiddos over the summer. So just some self-help skills to foster their independence, making sure that they can use the bathroom independently, especially with buttons and belts. Sometimes, they can be a little bit tricky, and we want to make sure that, they can work them themselves so that way they can get to the bathroom on time and use it independently. Opening containers, because as we spoke with the breakfast and lunch procedures, they'll be having to open up some milk containers and juice containers, kind of use their little pincher grasp and maybe pull the sides of bags open or rip the apple bag. So opening some containers themselves, cleaning up after themselves, and then requesting for help. This is a big one because, accidents happen where they do need help with something. So just how do we raise our hand or say, excuse me, Mrs. Sullivan, could I please have some help, rather than just letting something spill all over the floor and, getting upset about it, because we can easily fix these things. We just have to know how to request help appropriately. Tying shoes. Obviously, this is a big one, which doesn't happen right away in the beginning of the year, but it is a fun skill to learn because then they can become great classroom helpers for their peers and help classmates tie their shoes. Some of us have like shoe tying clubs and special helpers, and they like to feel that confidence to help others. So practice tying your shoes. Some things about stamina to have them be engaged and focused during read aloud stories. So we obviously don't expect them to sit and just be still for long periods of time. We build in lots of brain breaks, and we have a lot of times where we transition from the carpet to tables and kind of back and forth to give them a chance to move. But as you're reading stories with them at night or during the day when you're doing activities, just having them kind of work on longer lengths of time when they are engaged in one activity to build their stamina. Persevere through challenges, as we spoke about, persevering through any type of struggle, because not everything's going to be easy the first time. So we're never going to give up. Some fine motor skills, using scissors, working on their pencil grip, and cutting and pasting activities. Classroom supplies, you will receive a list from Ms. Howe with all the supplies that we need for the school year. Students do have an individual workspace for their supplies, but we also do have some things that now that we're not as strict with being to ourselves, we can share a few things too. But we do like to have everybody have their own like bins of pencils and glue and scissors. So any classroom supplies that you are able to provide to help in our classroom, you'll see the list on the website from Ms. Howe. There is a daily read folder that will go back and forth every day. That's a communication folder. Also, water bottles should be sent in every day. Label them so that way they have access to a drink, preferably water, not juice or soda to drink all day. And then also just having them be responsible. So I'm sure a lot of your kiddos already have tablets and devices at home, but they will receive a school device, as Ms. Mulvanna spoke about. So having them be responsible with technology and the things that we provide them at school that are theirs for the year, but just being responsible with all of those things.
And one thing you should know is there is no nap in kindergarten. I know back in the day when I was in kindergarten, we had a little nap time. That isn't anymore. So we need you to start breaking them of that nap habit about July so that they're ready to start school and be, kind and friendly, even though since they aren't going to be having that extra sleep in the day. So if you haven't already started breaking that habit, it's definitely this summer, one of your tasks that I'm going to give you, because our kiddos, if they are that tired, they're not making their best choices usually. And we want them to have great days every single day. All right, we are getting short on time, but we're going to go quickly through some things about lunch and a recess.
I think this is my slide too, so I'll go through real quick. So lunch, we do provide students with free lunch every single day. We also are provided with a healthy snack program that is offered a couple days a week. It's usually a vegetable or a fruit. We are a nut-free school, so you can have some butter, but please no peanut butter. Just a helpful tip, download the menu ahead of time. You can find it on our school website under the cafeteria tab. So that way you can have an idea of what the hot lunch will be of the day. But there are always a couple different options, but it's good to know, especially if you might have a picky eater, what the option is for the day. And if you do have any religious or medical needs, please just let us know. We can definitely support, or allergy needs, definitely support and make sure that your child is safe and we respect, your needs. Just some recess things, because we do go outside, weather permitting and temperature permitting. Just no flip-flops or sandals, please. So that way we can be safe on the playground, running around, make sure students have jackets if it's chilly. So like I said, we go outside as much as we can.
Perfect. So I know you probably have a lot of other questions. That's why we have the principal Q&A right before school starts. But you will find on our website my email and information. So if you are attending this tonight, or if you're watching this recording at a later time and you have questions that maybe are burning in your mind, you have to know, then we definitely want to get those answered before the school year starts. I will say that if you have a child with a severe allergy of any type, then I want you to email me so that I can get my school nurse to contact you before this school year ends so that we can get information from you. We want to make sure always that our students are safe and healthy, and it's better for us to know now versus knowing the day before school starts. So we do ask that you tell us that as soon as possible so that we can make sure that things are put in place to keep your child safe. We do thank you for coming out tonight, coming out to the Zoom, and we do appreciate each and every one of you. I hope that you find, as thousands and thousands of parents have found through the years, that Wilbur is your favorite school in the universe. I have no doubt, and this kindergarten team rocks. So I know that you're going to love any of these wonderful teachers that your child is working with next year. Again, thank you for coming out, and we appreciate you as parents. Have a great rest of the night.
Beth, can you just send me to not be a panelist so I can hear Chomp and Alonzo when they start?
Ditto. I was like, Aaron, I'm pretty sure it's the same chat and the same one.
You're muted, but that's fine.
We've got some new attendees that are in the room already because we're so close to the start time of our next one. So I will absolutely do that for you. And we are getting ready to start our second session in just a second. So let me welcome parents. We are getting ready to start our second session. Just getting the teachers in.
Should we log out and log back in?
Actually, log out. I think that's probably the easiest way. Log out, log back in.
Got it. Okay.
Hi. Hola.
All right, we ran that a little close. So hold on just a second.
Okay. We'll try to be right on time.
You were perfect. And we are getting ready to start. Oh, there's one. And it is 6:45. So we are going to get ready to get started. I am going to start recording the session. Actually, it is recording already. So